PMAC Movies, he's back, baby. For the fans, the reviews videos for the fans. The fans clamor for the reviews videos. Everybody else says, click. But this is a PMAC Movies reviews video. So take a look in the description section for ways that you can help out the channel. I would appreciate anything that you can do to help out. It does help motivate me to continue the channel, continue making the videos. But I use Letterboxd, and there should be a little link in the bottom, I think, for my Letterboxd account. I can't remember what's in there. But you can kind of keep tabs on what I've been watching and a star rating out of 5 stars. My name is PMAC Movies on Letterboxd, so you can find me that way. But I want to talk about some of the movies that I've been watching. I get, the issue is I didn't actually check to see where I ended off with my last reviews video. But we'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. So what I do, I got my phone pulled up, and I just go through them. Spoiler, I just gave you a spoiler. You know what I watched and how many stars I gave them. But I'll go through these. I did watch Happy Death Day to You and Happy Death Day. So I had seen those already. I may have even given Happy Death Day a 5 out of 5 PMAC Movies classic status the first time I watched it. And I don't know if I did for sure. I think I did. I'd have to go back and check. And it is a great movie, a great concept, a great idea. It's like a slasher version of Groundhog Day, and I think that the lead actress in it is very likable. I don't really pay too much attention to, I'm not a big fanatic about these loser celebrities, but Jessica Roth was very good in it. Names in movies always mean something. Her name in the movie, her nickname is Tree. So, you want to look into like the meaning of tree, and then, why they call her that is, So that's something where you can you might get some foreshadowing out of it, or kind of find, some of the big ideas or themes of the movie. You look into their names, but she's, I think there's themes about like reincarnation in this movie. If you dig a little bit deeper below the surface, doing the same day over and over again. If you want to dig deeper into the surface of it, it gives you a chance to look at yourself and improve yourself in the way that the movie is created. Like Groundhog Day, Bill Murray eventually, he's kind of a douche, and then he, over the course of the movie, he learns and he becomes something a lot better than he was. He progresses over time through trials and tribulations of what's going on in the movie, and this is a similar type of thing. I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5 after my second viewing, so the PMAC classic status has been straight. It's hard for me to say that, though, because I do love the movie. I just feel like it's, I don't know, the second time watching it, sometimes movies are better the second time, but, I knew what was going to happen, and I don't know. It's very close between a 4.5 and a 5 for me, but either way, it's a very, very good movie, one of the best modern horror movies, right there with something like, what was that? I always forget the name of that freaking movie. Dr. Sleep. Hey, I remembered it. Dr. Sleep, 5 out of 5, PMAC classic, one of the best modern horror movies. Happy Death Day's right there. There's just a lot of substance to those movies. I don't watch horror movies to be scared. I watch them for like the unique kind of stories that they offer and the unique sort of things that they can do with those, like science fiction movies. That's why those are like some of my favorite things to watch, science fiction and horror, because they can be really out there with some like interesting concepts, interesting ideas, thematic elements. So I really enjoy that. Happy Death Day to You kind of brings a sci-fi spin to it. So that was very, very good too. I did give it 4 out of 5 stars for Happy Death Day to You. I do feel like, the first one is, I do enjoy the first one more. And I think there's like an after credits scene, which I don't know if I watched the first time I watched Happy Death Day to You. And the after credits scene actually sets up a third Happy Death Day movie, which I would be very excited for it to come out. And I might actually go to the theater to see that if it did come out. I would be, I really enjoy those movies. I think it's, for the second movie to be as good as it is, because although I gave it 4, so I think it's not as good, it's damn close, and it's like the way it changed things up, but kind of, kept some of the same stuff. It was just a really clever way of doing it. So I think those are just fantastic movies, and I am definitely happy to have both of those in my collection, and I do not need a 4K of either of those, because 4K is mostly a bunch of bullshit. Oh, you have 4Ks, PMac. Yes, but it's gone overboard. It's like, do you really need The Hills Have Eyes on freaking 4K? Do you really need some old 70s slasher movie on 4K? You're just buying it to buy it, bitches. You're just buying it to buy it. And if it was $10 with a digital code, bear me. But if it's $30, it's like, and you already have it's got a nice Arrow special edition, 4K restoration Blu-ray. This Blu-ray's unbelievable. And then they come out with a 4K. I already got a freaking nice Blu-ray of this old horror movie. Why do I need... But, people just waste their money on shit. But, I mean, if you're loaded, you make 6 figures a year. But most people are, like, just getting by, and they're buying, like, this nonsense. It's like, well, I don't get it. But I know you can criticize everybody. There's definitely things you could criticize me about. I don't need all these friggin' movies that I buy, but I just don't understand. When I get 4Ks, there's I can actually tell you why I got it and go through the whole thing. And then if I can, I'll be like, well, why the hell did I get this? Why did I get Ron's Gone Wrong for $14? I didn't. But, I don't know, I just don't, Hills Have Eyes and, like, these old Halloween movies, they already got fine transfers. Why, I don't need an old horror movie to look like a brand new theater movie, and I don't think 4K even does that. So I don't know. To me, I don't understand it. But everybody's got their own perspective. This is my perspective. Don't tear me down. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Well, like I've said in these videos before, if you're not constantly, like, judging everything to some degree, you wouldn't even be alive now. You'd be dead. Like, if you weren't constantly, like, judging things. You have to use your judgment. You have to be judging people to a certain degree based on, what they're wearing, their appearance, what they smell like, what they're in their, you look in their eyes. You're judging everything all the time. You can't turn it off. So when you judge somebody in, like, a rational way, and you don't judge me, where some people just have shitty judgments, or just, everybody that looks like that is this way. Now, that's a harsh judgment, but we do have to be judging all the time, so that don't judge me thing is just a bunch of bullshit. But I just go from thing to thing. I don't even know what brought me there, but I need to do a full PMac movies reviews video on Spider-Man No Way Home. Enjoyable, entertaining superhero movie. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. But then, there were some aspects of it I was very uncomfortable with. And I thought a little bit more about it after I watched the movie, why I was uncomfortable about it. And I do think it's a major device to implant certain ideas into the minds of especially young people. And I think that's also why they made it so... Like, there's definitely some serious aspects to it, but they made a lot of, like, humorous, like, a lot of playful stuff. And, so it's definitely something where they definitely want to implant certain ideas into kids' minds, and this movie was a blatant way of doing that. It was an enjoyable movie, however. So 4 out of 5 as far as the entertainment quality of it. I did watch Close, the movie Close from 2019, directed by Vicky Jusin, and stars one of my favorite female actresses, Numi Rapace. I don't know how to say that. And then this other girl here, who's this? Mary Sophie Nelise. I'm just taking a look in what other movies she's in, because I didn't really know her, but I see she's from The Book Thief, which I do own. I don't really recognize any of these other movies she's in. Me and Charmy watched this Close movie, and it was actually pretty good. A good, enjoyable, kind of serious popcorn action movie. We were both pretty engaged. There were certain aspects to it that I didn't think were the greatest. I always like Numi, though. She's a really good actress. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, but at the same time, if you like, thriller type of movie, things like that, this is definitely a fun one to pull up on Netflix and watch. It's not gonna change your life or anything like that, but it was an entertaining movie. I'm looking into some of these other actors in here. Okay. So that was a pretty fun one. I'm not, as far as going into the movie, I mean, you can read a plot synopsis. It's there's some twists in this movie. Basically, Numi Rapace's says a counterterrorism expert, so she takes this role as kind of protecting this rich young girl, more or less, and things don't go as planned, and they have to go on the run, and it's just an entertaining action movie. I did watch Assassination with Charles Bronson, who I do enjoy. I try to get all of his movies that are put out on Blu-ray. It is from 1987, directed by Peter Hunt, and this is not supposed to be one of Charles Bronson's best movies. It is another one with Jill Ireland in it. And again, this isn't one of Charles Bronson's best movies, but is it worth watching? Absolutely. It's a fun kind of action movie. It doesn't take itself too seriously. He's basically looking after the president's wife. And she's quite difficult, but it's got the Charles Bronson is good in it. It's got his usual personality, kind of tough. It's got his charisma, his kind of tough guy sort of thing. He's always right about everything. But it's a good movie, not a great movie. So I gave that 3 out of 5 stars. I watched Open Your Eyes, which is the movie that Vanilla Sky, starring Tom Cruise, is based on. Open Your Eyes from 1997. Directed by Alejandro Amenabar. Do not get the Blu-ray of this. I got the Blu-ray. It's a Lionsgate Blu-ray, but it's not like a... I don't know what they... I think they say it's not a pressed disc. It's not silver on the bottom. It's like black. And my copy had a few scratches. I wouldn't think it would cause anything. But I tried playing the movie, and even just in the beginning, it was freezing up, and I had to forward ahead, and then towards the end, it just stopped playing, and I couldn't get to go. I had to finish the movie on Amazon Prime Video. So do not get the US Blu-ray of Open Your Eyes. It is a big pile of poo-poo. On the other hand, the movie is very good. It's I'm trying to think, is it the exact same thing as Vanilla Sky? I guess I would have to watch Vanilla Sky and then Open Your Eyes back to back. It's pretty much the same thing. It definitely has some, some big ideas in it. But yeah, I mean, if you've seen Vanilla Skies, it's pretty much the same, more or less. Pretty interesting movie. I did give it 4 out of 5 stars. And Penelope Cruz plays the same role in the original as she did in the Tom Cruise version. I did watch Starship Troopers from 1997, which has, I thought the first hour of it or so was excellent, and then it just goes into full-blown action mode pretty much. But just they have these propaganda commercials, and it's just it's funny because That's pretty much what it is. Now, everything you see on TV is, and it's not all like government-sponsored propaganda to, they teach you in, there was propaganda to support the war effort back in the, World War II era. That's just one sort of propaganda. There's things to influence your mind. Everything you see on that TV is meant to influence your mind. They do all sorts of research as far as what to put, like product, companies that are trying to sell a product. They do research on how to get that product connected to you in an emotional sense. So you see pharmaceutical ads, and they're always showing a certain groups of people based on what that drug is. And they're having a good time, they're smiling, they're laughing, they're on that pill, and they're having a good time. It's constantly trying to get you to make an emotional connection to the product. It's total brainwashing, mind control bullshit, and it's blatant. You watch a children's cartoon channel or whatever. All the commercials are going to be aimed at kids. And they're going to be trying to hit that kid with an emotional connection to the product. You watch like the evening news and things like that. A lot of those commercials, I believe, are kind of aimed at like older people who watch that kind of stuff. A lot of like pharmaceutical drugs for old people and other things. So, Starship Troopers does that from like the military angle, the news angle. They're showing you these little commercials, and it's just total brainwashing for the people. I mean, in the movie, they're getting the people to believe that these bug things are evil, and they're sending these asteroids towards Earth and shit like that. What proof do they even have that that's happening, that those asteroids are coming from the bugs? And then they go over to like the bugs' world looking to like kill them all, and they grow like just total hatred in people for these things, even though there's no proof that they were even aggressive at all towards people that I see. It's just ideas planted from these commercials, and it's blatant. That's what happens to us too. It's like every country, they're getting their own little propaganda on the TV, and then we're the good guys and they're the enemy. But it's a one world system. These countries, there's not like individual countries. It couldn't even, how would they even figure out where the borders are? In 1873, this war, come on, like how would they, no, this is the US. Take 2 steps. This is Canada. It's just, you take 2 steps. This is Mexico now. It's just all bullshit. And these governments are all, and I don't know how they do it. I don't know if it's, there's no way of knowing how it works, but you can see how they work things. And then nobody wants war, but there's just always wars going on. No regular person wants it, but there's always wars going on. It doesn't make any sense. Wars should not exist. Back when people were, living in tribes and there was wars. How do you know? Just because you're told that? There's a history book and there's all these, documented sources but it's all, they could all be bull. You don't think, if they control the whole narrative, all of the sources are bullshit. How can you confirm any of the sources? If the system controls the narrative itself, why couldn't they just make all that shit up? And all the hundreds of sources they got, why couldn't they make it all up? That's a conspiracy theory. How do you know? How do you know that any of those sources are accurate? Anything can be. I mean, we can see it now. What just happened recently. A narrative is shown to you on the TV that is totally not what you see in your everyday life. It happens all the time, but you think that they couldn't do it back then or something. It's just, and not even back then, but like you don't even know what the heck was going on, what portions of history really happened, what didn't. It's like we're very limited with what we can be very manipulated very easily. I mean, that's just the way it is, and people just, oh, well, I study history and I know this and that. And studying history, you don't know shit if you study history. There's no way, unless you've seen it with your two eyes, there's no way that you know anything that's happened. The TV can be manipulated. A book can be manipulated. And they are, not just they can be, it's been shown that they are manipulated. So just movies like Starship Troopers show that sort of thing, where people can be just totally manipulated into buying something and emotionally charged. I hate those bugs, when those bugs might not have done anything. The enemy might be the person who's making the shit on the TV screen for you to see. I watched Colonia with what's her face? Harry Potter, Hermione Granger, Emma Watson, Daniel Bruhl and Michael Nyquist are also in this. This is definitely not a casual movie to sit down and watch. This is a pretty intense movie where it's set in another country. What was it? Infamous Colonia Dignidad. In like South America, I think it was. And basically her boyfriend is captured and taken to some horrible kind of cult kind of place where they like torture him, and then, you know, it's like this cult sort of thing, and she goes there to try to rescue him. And there's some messed up shit going on there, some really messed up crap going on there. You know, it's that, and then it's interesting, too, how they show that this guy who's running the place, this real creep, and this is based on a true story, but again, how the hell do you know that any of this really happened? It's just, it's a movie, it's a story. Oh, well, these people said that they were there, and who the hell knows if they were there, what happened? But based on the movie, you see the connection to this evil cult. And then this guy actually ends up being like basically in cahoots with the government and the military and shit. So it's pretty messed up. And I mean, this guy's some of the, you know, the things that people are in prison that would, you know, other inmates would beat them up for because they're in prison for those things, you know, some really disgusting shit. This guy's, you know, allegedly doing in this, and he's in cahoots with the government and the military. And, you know, it blatantly shows it. Oh, well, that couldn't happen here, though. Nothing bad could happen here. It's just in those other countries. Nothing could happen here. You keep dreaming, boy. Dark City. I rewatched Dark City. I've probably seen it, I don't know, several times. I first watched it, I remember I was in college, probably 2005 or so, 2004, 2005. I didn't know anything about the movie when I watched it back then. I guess it wasn't even really that super old back then. But anyway, it's been out for a while now. It's, you know, but what a great movie, Dark City. What a great movie. I actually prefer Dark City to The Matrix, although of course The Matrix is great too, but it's phenomenal. It has so many like interesting little thought experiments with it, little nuggets that they throw out there and say, oh, maybe this is really going on. Maybe when you sleep, your memories could be played with. How would you know if your memories are altered? How would you know? You know, I think back to things that happened to me, and it's like, how do I know that wasn't an implanted memory? That's a conspiracy bullshit. I mean, I don't know that I don't really think that's going on to a big degree, but who knows? You know, our minds, we don't really know how far it goes as far as how much our minds can be manipulated. But Dark City is just, if you haven't seen it, it's so good. just focus on the movie. Just play the movie. Don't be looking at your phone. Don't be reading anything. Be totally focused on the movie. Just take it in. It's so good. The theatrical version, I think this is actually the first time I watched the theatrical version. I always watch the director's cut. I feel like the beginning of the theatrical version like gives too much away. It's almost like a spoiler because it's like Kiefer Sutherland's character's like giving you a synopsis of what's happening. So I think that the director's cut is preferable because then you're gonna get, you don't know what the hell's going on, like the main character doesn't know what's going on in the director's cut. And I think that's how it's supposed to be. And then you kind of find out stuff as it goes. And it is a movie that you really need to watch multiple times. It's just amazing. It is a PMAC classic, no doubt. One of my favorite movies of all time. Dark City. Starring Rufus Sewell, who I think is really good in it. Jennifer Connelly. Oh, baby, Jennifer. And actually, that other girl in this is looking good, too. What's her name? Melissa George. She's looking good, too. William Hurt, he's a good actor. Kiefer Sutherland, of course, with probably the strangest role he's ever had. And you got the strangers in this. They're just creepy sons of bitches, which is... very likely some sort of entity like that really exists. They're almost like, there's always these vampire type of creatures in movies. They're almost like a vampire type, like an energy vampire type of thing. So, very great movie. Starry Eyes I watched, which is about some girl trying to become a Hollywood actress, and I enjoyed this movie. It is very dark. It is not a movie. It's not a popcorn crunching movie. It's a movie where it's very serious, very dark. It is 98 minutes from 2014. I do have the DVD of this, but I did watch the HD version on Amazon Prime. You do have to sit through commercials. I think it's actually through IMDb, so you have to sit through commercials and stuff like that. But the main girl in this is played by Alex Esso, who I thought was pretty good. And she basically has to become a new entity. Like I don't maybe I'm spoiling it too much. I mean, the movie's been out for 8 years, but people think that like you can just become a star with your talent, based on your talent. And I really don't believe that you can. I don't know. I have no idea what you have to do, but it's not just based on talent alone. And this movie portrays that in a certain way. So it's the selling your soul sort of thing. I watched Gambit with Michael Caine. I did talk about it in my haul video that I just made from yesterday. I'll post this on Sunday. My haul video will be from Saturday. Gambit from 1966, Michael Caine. Shirley MacLaine, I really felt like stole the show. I thought she was great in this. And I really liked how this movie had a few kind of unique twists to it. And the beginning of it and then towards the end, there are some really interesting twists to it. The beginning one, something that I didn't see coming at all. And I think, for the 60s, it's like kind of amazing that they did it the way they did it. I thought it was really cool. And it has to do with, feeling like you have this idea of how something's going to go, or how somebody is, or how something's going to be, and then when it actually comes to be, it's actually totally different. So it was really good. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. By the way, I gave Starship Troopers 3.5 stars, Colonia 3 stars, Starry Eyes 4 stars, Gambit 4 stars, and I did watch the Death on the Nile new movie from Kenneth Branagh. And it's not that it's necessarily a bad movie, but there's so many versions of this, I feel like. I guess I've seen, like, I already know what the twist is, because I've seen it. there's several other versions of it. So to me, it's just like, is this really necessary to keep making this movie? Like, to keep remaking this movie? I just felt like it was not necessary. I mean, it was fine as far as the quality of it. I actually liked, I don't really care that much for Kenneth Branagh as Poirot. What was the girl's name in this? Emma McKay, I thought, is Jacqueline de Belfort. I thought she was pretty good in that role. Everybody else was just kind of eh. I gave it 2.5 stars. These are a while ago. I watched In the Shadow of the Moon, which I believe is a Netflix movie. I gave it 2.5 stars. I don't remember enough about that to say. I watched The Long Goodbye, which I believe is a Robert Altman. Yes, it is. This is another Philip Marlowe stories, and I much preferred the ones with, what's his face there? I can't remember his name, but it was okay. It wasn't great. I gave it 3 out of 5. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. Kind of want to finish this up. And then I watched a few other ones. I'll talk about some of the ones I liked. I watched Wasabi from 2001 with what's his face in it, John Reno. I thought this one was a fun one, a good one. He goes to Japan and meets the daughter he didn't realize that he had. I believe it was kind of like an action comedy, and I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought it was fun. I also gave Midnight Run 3.5 stars, which is another action comedy, which I enjoyed. Robert De Niro is really good in it. Robert De Niro is really good. You know, he can really play like a serious sort of character or like a comedy sort of thing. So he really was excellent in Midnight Run. I enjoyed that. And then some other ones that were mediocre. I watched Vigilante, which is a very, very dark movie from 2018 starring, what's her face, Olivia Wilde. She's pretty intense. She's pretty intense in this. It was a pretty decent movie. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Not one if you want something light and fun to watch. It is some dark, disturbing shit. A lot of stuff about domestic abuse and getting revenge for domestic abuse and things like that. Some very serious domestic abuse. Murder on the Orient Express, another movie that I just feel like these Poirot movies have been done. It's like the same plot line. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I feel like, maybe they need to change up the story a little bit more or something. And then I watched Darkness from 2002 starring, what's her face there? Anna Paquin. Also in that, Ian Glenn, Lena Olin. I thought it was like okay. Not that great though. 2.5 stars out of 5. So I think the other one, I don't know, maybe some of these I didn't talk, I think a lot of these I talked about in my previous reviews video, but we do gotta get this thing finished up, and I do appreciate you guys for watching. If you made it to the end of this, you are a PMAC Movies fan, baby. Take a look in the description section for ways that you can help out the channel. I do put the time and the effort into making these. Really look forward to, hearing some feedback on my reviews, and let me know your thoughts on any of the movies I talked about, and we will see you next time on PMAC Movies.